Hey, what's up? Brian here with J-Line, helping others achieve greatness in every part of life. And today we're driving conversation by allowing the Tesla to drive, and I'll talk to you about some stuff that's on my mind. Let's get into it. First thing let's do is let's let the Tesla drive. Okay, the Tesla's driving, and now that the Tesla's driving, I can think, and I often say this, a lot of times when I drive, I don't play music. Sometimes I watch videos, but most of the time, if the Tesla's driving and I am, taking time to just think and meditate and pray, and so last week we talked about starting a new YouTube channel and thinking about how inexpensive someone can live if they were like a nomad. Meaning, a nomad is somebody that doesn't have a permanent home, although I guess you can have a permanent home if it's paid off and you don't have a mortgage to pay. The funny thing about mortgage is mortgage was always, the term mortgage came from having some land and then paying it off when you die. So pretty much mortgage or mortgage. That's when you're in the morgue, you could pay off your house. That's how it kind of began and how it started. But some people actually don't wait until they die to pay off their home. All right, so if you don't have a mortgage, and even if, okay, so let's talk about it for reals. Even if you do have a mortgage, you can decide a couple things. One, of course, sell your house. You could do that, and then not have it anymore. The other thing you could do is you can do what's called house hacking, or renting out your house and allow someone else to pay your mortgage, and then of course there's a lot that goes into that, because if you're traveling or if you're not around, I had a house that I did on Airbnb. I rented it, and it was out of state, and I'll just tell you, I sold that house because it was so hard to be out of state, and a day away, plane flight away, to have to do with anything on it, and having to hire people to clean it in between cleanings, and then have a property. So I guess if you had a property management, so this is the thing, let's be real, if you had a property management company that would take care of all of that for you, they're gonna charge you a lot of what your profit would be. And let's also be real, when it comes to real estate. Yes, it can go up, it can go down. Most of the time it's going to go up in value, but because of the interest rates, it's really hard to keep up with going up in value based on the fact that you're paying interest. So I'm just assuming that people that will be thinking about this probably wouldn't be thinking about renting out their house unless you wanted to try it out. Like, oh, let's do it for a year. Let's rent out our house for 1 year. But still, there's a lot of headache that goes along with that if you're not around to take care of things that need to be taken care of. And if that happens and you hire somebody, it's just going to eat into your profit. That's my experience. That's what I would think. So let's say you had a house, and let's say, for example, let's say you had a house and you invested $50,000 into the house. I'm just picking $50,000, for your down payment and all of that kind of stuff. And probably if it's more, I know the value that you have in it. But if you have that and $50,000, and it's going to bring you about $500 a month profit, and you have that house and it's going up in value, there are some good monthly real estate investment trusts like stock market ETFs that you can buy for about the same amount that would give you the same amount of money. So the thing about ETFs, as far as a stock that pays out, whether monthly, quarterly, whatever, if you took the same amount of money, look at, oh my gosh, I had to take over. It went over the line. It went over the line. How dare you, Tesla, go over the line? It is kind of going fast for the curves that we're going around. But, okay. Now, the reason why you take over, I didn't tell it, but you take over if it does something wrong, and then you tell it, hey, you went over the line. You know, what the heck? Slow down. And so whenever you take over, when the Tesla's driving and you take over, it knows, okay, we did something wrong, and then it will evaluate based on the cameras and everything. It'll evaluate what it did wrong and then not do it again. So that's what's cool about the self-driving, is it's supervised, but it's and that's why you need to pay attention, you know. And then someday, I'm telling you, it's gotten better and better and better. And then someday you won't even need to be sitting right here. You could sit in the passenger side or in the back, or lay down and sleep right back there while it drives. Someday. That's the dream. So, in fact, the reason why I bought this car with this full self-driving, and you never know how many years away things are, but the self-driving, there is where the plan, the overall goal, is that your car, your Tesla, can take you to work, drop you off at work, and then while you're at work, your Tesla will go and drop people off, like do Uber and drop people off and stuff like that, and then come back to pick you up when it's time, when you're off work. And that would be pretty cool. In fact, imagine just staying at home and you send your Tesla out to go do Uber for you, and then you know, people will get in and they sit in the back and it drives them, drops them off, and your Tesla's making money for you. Anyway, I have a link. I don't know if I'll put it in the description, but you know, I have a link. Reach out, comment. If you want to, either you have a Tesla, you want to try self-driving out, I have a link for you that can get you a great deal. And then if you want to buy a Tesla, I also have a link. So let me know, and that will be a phenomenal deal. Some people have gotten Teslas to use my link before. All right, that's the hustle, and that's the commercial for this video. Now let's get back to what we were talking about. The ETFs and the thing about investing in the stock market. The value of the ETFs sometimes go up, sometimes stay flat, sometimes go down. And so you have to know which ones to purchase. But what I'm saying is, when I figured that I had this house that was in another state and I'm bringing in like $500 a month profit, and just all the headache and everything that happened with it, if I wanted to be in real estate today, I would buy REITs, or they're called REITs, real estate investment trusts, where it is companies that invest in real estate with your money that you buy the ETF, and then they do all the management, they do all the buying, the selling, find the tenants, all of that. And by law, they have to pay out 90% of their profits to their shareholders. So anyway, ETF REITs is probably the way to go if you want to be in real estate and you wanted to just have it as a passive income, because it truly can be more passive in this way rather than you have to do all that. Okay, sorry, let's get back into it, because we're talking about whether people would be selling their home if they don't have a mortgage. Can they travel? And I think yes. And you know, there are many month-to-month rental places, or even Airbnb, that if you do 28 days, I remember when I did Airbnb, if somebody rented it for 28 days, you gave them a huge discount. In fact, I gave them a 50% discount, meaning that if they stayed for 2 weeks, they can literally just stay for a month if they wanted to. And I did, like I said, many people do huge discounts if you're going to stay for the whole month, because it's the whole check-in, check-out process, the cleaning process, all of that costs extra money. So sometimes if people just stay, and I don't know if it'll be 50%. I'm just saying, there are a lot of places, if you could do an Airbnb for 1 month, you could stay for 1 month. And most people would say, wait a minute, because Airbnb is expensive. I thought you were talking about traveling for inexpensive and being a nomad, or a place where you don't have a home and be traveling from place to place. And we talked last time about this term slow travel, where you stay a couple months in a place and then you just travel around. You get to know about the place where you're at. I think that's a great way to think about if you want to move and you want to go somewhere. Obviously, you're going to go visit first, right? You go visit, see what it's like. And most of the time, you can visit, and most of the time people will visit for a couple days or a week. But imagine staying a month someplace, looking around, going around to different neighborhoods, different places, and finding the exact right place that you would like. Now, when I think of Airbnb and doing Airbnb for a month, it is not necessarily in the States. It's overseas in other places, like Albania, for example. I found it in some of my research. I've never been there, but some people have, and they're like spending $600 a month for rent, but in an Airbnb they're spending like $1,000 for a whole month. And so I'm like, okay, that's comparable, but I think the thing to really think about is not whether you can travel or whether you have a month that you can go. I think there's a couple things. Number one, you have to be able to work from anywhere, or at least have some type of income coming in where it doesn't matter if you go to work or not. Like, so I mean, there's people that are retired, or people that have saved up, or have their investments, or have multiple streams of income that pay them each month in order for them to travel. So they can work from anywhere. So however, wherever you fall in that, I know a lot of people are like looking to do stuff when they retire. And it's always like, when I retire. But when you retire, and when people think of retiring, they think of 65 years old. I mean, that's just been the retirement age. And then they're like, well, if you wait until you're 70, or if you retire early at 62, all of this. So there's a lot that goes into that. But a lot of people think about, they think about retiring at 65. When I thought of retiring, I had a goal, and my goal was to retire at 45. And I did, but I thought differently about retirement. So it's like, retirement isn't that you don't like work anymore, or I think of retirement as you don't work for someone else anymore. Like, you decided that you're going to work for yourself, or have your investments paid. And I know a lot of times this is what it's been. It's been like, people will work for their career for 40 plus years and save up enough money to live off of for the rest of their life, and that's what they call retirement. But if you've learned anything, or if you know anybody, a lot of times that retirement amount that they thought they were going to get back then, 40 years ago, or whenever when they set it up, isn't enough to sustain them today. And so they're always trying to do something else for more money. And so their retirement is, and the other thing is, even if it is well and good, chances are they're paying somebody that manages their retirement fund for them, or whatever it is that they have, that somebody's managing it. And so they're paying a pretty penny for somebody to manage their money. I just tell you that right now. And so having some financial IQ is what we call it, understanding to be able to manage your own funds can really make the big difference in whether you make it for retirement or not, like having somebody else manage your funds versus you. I remember, and I know of someone that they got, like, at the end of their year, they got $14,000, and so it was like, I got $14,000 that my money manager sent me, and it was awesome because they, we had a good year, so they gave me an extra $14,000. And I'm thinking, okay, I don't know if they realize it, but chances are they got half. They got half of what they would have had, close to $30,000, but their money manager says, hey, check it out, I got you $14,000. What he's really saying is, I got us $14,000. You get 14, I get 14. So, but I mean, that's good if you don't have to worry about it, and they're professionals and they understand it. Then you're paying somebody to do it. That's fine. But it comes to a place where you're like, if I understand how to manage my own money, and if I learn how to manage my own money, I can have a lot more. And so, I don't know, it depends on how you want to look at it. Either you do it or somebody else does it. I'm more of a proponent of me doing it, and that's what I did. Whenever I retired, like I said, I thought differently about retirement. I didn't think that I wasn't working anymore, or that I saved up enough money to live off the rest of my life. I just decided I'm gonna build multiple streams of income. I'm gonna work from anywhere, and I'm gonna work for myself. And I thought of, like, working for someone else in a remote job. I mean, that's something too. The idea is to find, if you are working for someone or some other company or whatever, is what I'm saying, you have to find a way that it's going to add life to you, like give you life, like life freedom, financial freedom, time freedom, and I think a lot of times remote work, it gives you freedom to travel or work from anywhere. There are remote jobs that you have to be on your IP address, which is at your home, and you need certain internet speeds and all this kind of stuff. So there is, like, remote work opportunities that actually lock you in to your actual physical address, so it doesn't really allow you to travel. And I know there's VPN and all that kind of stuff, but of course, if the company really wants you to work from home, you can't really use a VPN, because they don't want you to use a VPN, because they want to prove that you are where you say you are. So I'm not talking about tricking the system or anything like that. I'm talking about being able to actually work from anywhere in a remote job, and if you're working for someone else. So, we talked a little bit before about if you are working for yourself versus what your company pays you versus how much you have in productivity. And basically, whatever your company pays you, you can, times that by 4, and that's what you're generating, and they're giving you a quarter of what you're generating based on your productivity and what you're doing for the company. Now, I know the company might have a service, a product, a system that you don't own, that's why they're able to make that money, and they're just giving you 25% for your time, for your effort, but if you were able to get 25% of any kind of revenue, 25% of what that company gives, then you can really think of the company as the middleman, not you as the middleman. That's what I'm trying to say. That's my thought when it comes to working from anywhere and doing all that. So anyway, with this video, I kind of wanted to jump in, and we talked a little bit about being able to travel, work for anywhere. I think the thing we have to think about now is, if we're going to travel, what expenses do we have? So in our next video, why don't we just start talking about expenses that there's obviously, the obvious IQ is expenses versus income, or income versus expenses. And so if you have a certain amount of income coming in, how are you getting it? Is it passive? Is it from investments? Is it from multiple streams of income or other businesses? Or is it from a job that you have to work each and every day or whatever? You know, so anyway, we gotta conquer the income question. I mean, there's a lot more questions, don't get me wrong, but we have to conquer the income question. And I think the biggest thing I'm trying to say when it comes to the income question is that we're not saving up a bunch of money and then spending it for the rest of our lives. I mean, because even if you save up a bunch of money, yes, that money has to start working for you. So the faster you can get your money working for you, the better. And if you are working for money, the money that you get, you have to assign a certain amount of that money to start working for you so that it can start making money. And if all you're doing is saving money and putting it into a 401k, or, you know, like your company matches or whatever, I mean, that's like not really what I'm talking about when I'm talking about your money working for you. Because most of the time, those are just going to keep up with inflation. And yeah, they might make enough money, but if you spin and you get what you want, basically, and do what you want, chances are your funds that you saved are going to deplete over time. So that's something to think about when it comes to if your money's really working for you. Is it sustaining itself, or is it sustaining you? That's what you want to really think about. So with all that being said, I think that'll be it for our driving conversation today. And until next time, remember, don't just watch J-Line, but be a J-Line. See ya!